Anyone want to play rock, paper, scissors while we wait? You're on, Maria.
Come on.
Okay, ready? On shoot, okay?
A 2? Okay.
On shoot.
Oh.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Oh.
2 out of 3?
Okay, ready?
Yep. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Oh, okay.
You guys are a draw.
Third.
Yep. Oh, sorry. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Ah.
Yes!
We also have a poll that we can share with everyone.
Let's do a couple of those.
Yeah, let's first did that one this morning. Let's do a serious one first.
It says that hosts and panelists cannot vote.
Oh, I don't know if I can change that on my end. You can verbally say what you would do. For those of you who put other, why don't you type out what why you picked it in the chat? International relations with school. Okay.
It's a good thing we have that emphasis here.
Yes, we do have international business.
I appreciate the honesty.
All right. So it seems like most of you wanted a career in the business field. Very intuitive, yeah. And best with your personal interests. All right, sounds good. And then let's do another quick poll before we get started. This is a personal fave because I love superheroes.
I'm going to vote out loud. I'm going to say Iron Man because I can't vote in the poll.
What about the rest of the panel? Who's your pick?
My pick's Batman.
Batman.
Iron Man.
I'd say it's a draw. They have enough money to draw it out.
All right. Yeah, so most of our participants said Iron Man. And I think I'd have to agree. Just from what we've seen, seemed like he has more firepower, but that's just me. All right, so we'll go ahead and get started then. And first we're going to meet the peer advisors, which are some of the lovely people we have here. If you have any questions, instead of using the raise your hand function, I recommend using the Q&A function at the bottom. It's just easier for us to monitor questions that way. And then I would also recommend using the Q&A function instead of the chat for the same reasons. All right. And then with, I don't have anything else. So if everyone else is ready, we can get going with the first part of our panel.
Okay. I'll begin sharing my screen then with the presentation. Oh wait, no. Sorry. Okay. So thank you everybody for joining us this afternoon for the Meet the Peer Advisors. How this will work is for the first few minutes, the peer advisors for your 2020-2021 academic year will go ahead and introduce themselves, and then until 2:30, we'll have a Q&A with the peers and students. That will also go into maybe 4 o'clock after the staff have also introduced themselves, and then we'll have the opportunity for students to ask more questions then as well. So first is me. My name is Iyari Falcon. I am a senior and I'm a managerial economics and political science double major. I'm from the East Bay, so from Pinole. I don't know if all of you guys are maybe familiar with that area. I chose managerial economics as my major because it became really interesting to me to see how economic policy and political decisions overlap and how important they are to the outcomes of our economy and politics. As a econ major and peer advisor, I've heard a lot of feedback regarding classes, but personally, ARE 115A, Economic Development, is my favorite. I really enjoy learning how the developing countries have to deal with their credit markets and their financial decisions and things like that. It became really interesting to me, and I really liked that class. I took it in spring 2020. And then a real quick thing to know about me is that during quarantine, I tried to explore my skills in the kitchen, but I found out that I'm not so much good of a cooker, but I'm a very good baker. So yeah.
Hey everyone, my name is Parvin Sheung and I am a fourth year double majoring in managerial economics and communication. So I chose to major in Man Econ because I thought that it was the perfect mix of both economics and business administration back when I was a senior in high school. And because of my strong interest in the business world, I think that organizational management, ARE 112, has to be my favorite class so far. And lastly, a fun fact about me is that although I've always hated running, I actually picked up running as a hobby during this quarantine. So it's time to try something new.
Hi everyone, my name is Tiffany Zhao. I'm also a fourth year Man Econ major, and I'm also minoring in accounting and education. So I majored in managerial economics because I like that the major applies economic theory to real world applications. So I can have a full sense of how business and policy decisions are made. And I would have to say that my favorite class so far is ARE 107, which is econometrics for business decisions, just because I really like using R to analyze data. And a fun fact about me is that I like to collect things, and right now I'm collecting a lot of pins.
Hi guys, my name is Eva Chung, and I'm a third year managerial economics major minoring in accounting and technology management, and I'm also from San Francisco. So I chose the managerial economics major because it was a perfect major for me to explore what field of business I wanted to pursue. My favorite class so far has been ARE 100B, which is intermediate microeconomics. I really enjoyed this class because I enjoyed ECM 1A and ARE 100A, which are both microeconomic classes. So it gave me a strong foundation for ARE 100B. A fun fact about me is that I really enjoy biking, which was one of the things I really value about the Davis campus. And recently I've been biking a lot along Great Highway and Ocean Beach in San Francisco.
Hey everyone, my name is Kelly Tran and I'm currently a junior. I'm majoring in managerial economics and minoring in accounting, and I'm from San Jose. I decided to choose to major in managerial economics because I liked how its classes allowed me to explore a lot of career paths from finance and accounting to economic policy and business regulation. And because of my interest in accounting, I would have to say that my favorite upper division class would be Iyari 118, which is tax accounting. And a fun fact about me is that I picked up latte art as a hobby during quarantine, and my favorite latte is currently matcha latte.
Hi, everyone. My name is Thomas Cox. I'm from Eagle Point, Oregon. I'd be pretty surprised if any of you actually know where that is. It's like the Medford area. I'm also a Man Econ major, surprise, surprise, and technology management minor. I chose Man Econ because it's largely exploratory, and not knowing what I wanted to do coming into Davis, it was a great opportunity for me to try out different fields and just try different emphases and really figure out what I wanted to do. Like Iyari, I really enjoyed Iyari 115A, development economics, because of the different perspectives it taught, and just learning how economics operated on a global scale was really interesting. I didn't know we were doing fun facts, but I somehow convinced these lovely people to hire me by telling them that I had really big feet. So like, neato, I guess.
Okay, thank you to all of our peers for going ahead and introducing themselves. We can't wait to work with all of you students during the 2020-2021 academic year. But for now, we'll go ahead and first, I want to welcome everybody to follow us on social media. Our Facebook page, our UC Davis Instagram page, and then our LinkedIn. The peer advisors do run these accounts, at least the social media accounts. So any quick questions, you can always ask us there via direct message, and we'll get back to you within a day, or maybe if it's like within our work hours, then within our work hours as well. And then as always, we post all of our class offerings and things like that on our website, so feel free to visit our website as well. But for now, we'll go ahead and do a Q&A with all of you students. So I'll stop sharing my screen for now.
It seems like there's already a couple of questions in the chat bar, if you'd like to answer those as well.
Yeah. So we can. Okay, so a student asks that all of our peer appointments are full now. So if the peer appointments are full, maybe for this week, maybe you can check it out next week, our schedules and things like that. They do vary from week to week, so there might be a cancellation, but you can always book. But yeah, so just you're gonna have to go week by week on having to book an appointment. But yeah.
And also, if you're having trouble booking an appointment for whatever reason, you can always email our Man Econ email, which I am putting in the chat. And an advisor or our assistant can assist you. And real quickly, before we continue on with the questions, I just wanted to introduce the rest of our advising staff. So those are the peer advisors. We also have 5 staff advisors. So there's myself, Jemmy. I'm a staff advisor for Man Econ.
I'll go next. Hi, I'm Elizabeth, and I'm also a staff advisor for Man Econ. I've been in the office for about 21 years. I'm from Paradise, California. And I love dogs a lot. I have a German Shepherd and a little pitty mix at home, and I love dark chocolate. That's me. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Chris Guevara. I've been an advisor with Man Econ for, I think it's 2 years now. Originally from Los Angeles, and a fun fact about me is because I'm from Los Angeles, I'm a big Lakers fan. So obviously I'm a happy camper as everybody shakes their head.
I can go next. My name is Maria Saldana Seibert. I'm also a staff academic advisor. I've been in the department almost 2 years, but I've been on campus for almost 25 years and a UC Davis alumni. Fun fact about me, love coffee, and I can have it at any time of the day, and it always hot coffee. And a plug, I guess, from the LA side of things, LA Dodgers, I would say.
Hi, I'll go last here. My name is Dee Shannon, and I've been with the department for over 8 years, but I am technically retired, but I call it semi-retired because I enjoy coming back and working with students on a part-time basis, and I just moved to Chico, California to be closer to my grandchildren. Got a grandson and a baby granddaughter. So we're having a good time up here, and even in spite of the smoke, but I'm happy to be with all of you virtually. It's great to see everybody.
All right, thanks everyone. And I guess I didn't give that much about me, but I've been an advisor for 4 years. Yeah, it's 4 years in September. And I'm from Oakland/Stockton. I am a UC Davis alumni, and yeah, I'm excited to start this new year. All right, so in terms of accessing these recordings afterward, we will try to post them to our website. So they should be available within like the next week or so, whenever Chris can get to it. So yeah. And then our next question we have here is, can we go over the specializations in Man Econ? Yeah, can we go over the specializations in Man Econ? And what they necessarily lead to, I'm guessing job-wise. Anyone like to start?
Yeah, so I can go over the business econ emphasis if that's what they're referring to in terms of specialization. So there's 4. There's business econ, international business, there's environmental and resource economics, and then there's agri-business economics. The business economics emphasis more so has accounting courses. It also has like marketing classes in it as well. So a lot of students, and finance, of course, and investment classes too. So a lot of students interested in going maybe into the finance field, or also maybe the marketing, or are really interested in accounting too, really do lean towards that emphasis. The emphasis is very versatile in terms of that it has a lot of options for upper divisions that you can take as a student. If you follow us on Instagram or Facebook, we were having like this little sequence called About the Major Monday, where every Monday we explained all 4 of our emphasis into better detail too, if you want to look in there as well. But that's the business econ emphasis. I don't know if anybody wants to explain the international business emphasis.
Yeah, so I'm doing a double emphasis in both business and business economics and international business. So I would say that, yeah, agree with Iyari that business emphasis is very broad, and the international business has a lot to do with economic development, trade, different policies, and more geared towards obviously economics and some macro classes.
And then we also have two other emphases which aren't as popular as the business economics and international business economics, but they are still options. There's the environmental and resource economics emphasis, which focuses on the use of natural resources and how that impacts economic policy. And then the agribusiness emphasis, which is all about the ag industry. So you learn about um, ag policy. So yeah, it's the major is very broad. So you'll more than likely find what you're interested within the major. And just a quick reminder, if you have any questions, please put them in the Q&A. It's just easier for us to keep track of who's asking what. All right. Okay, so then, this next question, Thomas, do you want to go ahead and answer that one?
Sure. That's so asking about specific classes that we would recommend taking in a quarter would definitely be something that we would be happy to go over in an actual appointment more, especially if it's just a general question, do you recommend this class with that other one? As far as a general rule goes, we only, more often than not, will only say you might want to reconsider doing this if you're thinking about taking more than 2 of the upper division classes required within the major at the same time. But again, if as more appointments become available in the coming weeks, we'd be more than happy to answer those questions in an appointment itself.
All right, so this next question is more geared towards transfer students. Do you all have any tips you would like to give an incoming transfer student who has already taken the lower division classes?
Yeah, so for transfer students, I would recommend taking ARE 100A and Stats 103 as soon as possible because those two classes are usually prerequisites for a lot of our other classes. And also, even though you've already taken the lower division requirements, it's best to check in again just because we do have our own computer class requirements that might not transfer over and communication requirements. So make sure you're double checking that all of the classes you took at your CC has transferred over with our major.
Any other tips for transfer students?
Check out the Transfer and Reentry Center. They have a website at trc.ucdavis.edu, and they have different events and sort of drop-in hours, maybe by appointment because of COVID, just to check in and talk to other transfers going through the same experience.
In terms of classes, another option you get transfer students might have as well, just because at times like that GETI doesn't come over all the way, or you might have some troubles with prerequisites. You can consider maybe ARE 112, which is the organizational management class, or ARE I believe 115A. I don't remember all of the prerequisites off the top of my head, which doesn't have a lot of prerequisites either. So in terms of upper divisions, I would just look for classes that don't have a lot of prerequisites, or that at least are the ones that you satisfy. Like for example, ARE 112 or 115A, which seem to be more common for at least first quarter transfers.
All right, so on to the next question. To all of our Man Econ majors, so the peers, what academic resources do you turn to and what habits do you practice to help you perform well each quarter?
The resources I rely on the most are honestly just office hours, talking to the professors, talking to the TAs, especially on a class-by-class basis. They understand that you're a student, but you also have other things happening in your life. So just talking to them and helping and asking for help goes a really long way. And there's tons of other resources you can use. I don't know if other people have specifics that they like to use, but office hours are the main thing for me.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry. Okay, for me, at least for studying, I like doing a lot of study groups, and especially now since everything's online, a lot of people like do like Facebook groups or other social media options to do like study groups to study together and work on homework together. And another good resource are advisors. So it's pretty good to like go check out are your degree requirements for the man econ major being done, you know, just to make sure you stay on track and are taking like the right classes.
Yeah, as the first year too, I went a lot to the calculus room, at least for math help. I'm sure they probably have online Zoom drop-ins too. But yeah, I definitely thought they were very helpful, at least for math, the math series. Yeah.
Would anyone else like to share their habits and practices?
So like for me, on top of going to office hours and doing study groups, as previous mentioned, I also like having a planner, and I have a calendar where like I have all the due dates so that I don't miss anything. I have a planner where like I write down everything that I need to know for the rest of the week and beyond. And I think that's been really helpful for me.
And
Another
to
thing
also,
about habits. Oh, sorry, Parvin, go ahead.
sorry, to also add, I think for our core classes, it's really important to understand the bigger picture and how everything ties together. Because when you get into like the specifics of each market, it can be kind of confusing and everything starts to feel like it's the same thing. So just staying on top of it and really understanding the material so that when you have back-to-back midterms or anything with the crazy schedule in the quarter system, you will feel less worried that you're cramming in the last minute.
And another thing about habits, for me as well, it's really important to just take care of yourself. If you feel pressured or stressed at times, don't be afraid to break up. Like if you're doing 6 hours of studying a night, don't be afraid to take a night off if you need to. And especially something that I see tons of students do, my friends, my different peers, is they'll like pull an all-nighter the night before an exam. Don't do all-nighters. All-nighters suck. They make you feel bad, and when you're actually sitting there and you're in your test and you're feeling really tired, it's probably because you're not sleeping or drinking water. So try and like plan things out accordingly so you're not cramming and doing that kind of stuff before, so that way you don't face that.
All right, so we're going to interrupt the Q&A for a quick second to introduce the last member of our panel, Cindy.
Hey, hi everybody. Nice to see you all. My name is Cindy. I'm the assistant to everyone and all students as well. If you have trouble making appointments, you can just check with me through the email, or I think there was a link that was sent out to, oh, it's on the website. There's a link that's like we have a drop-in chat that I run from 11 to 3 and then 3:30 to 5:30. So it's general questions. I can't answer anything, too in depth, but I can help with some things. And then I can also schedule you appointments with peers and staff advisors. Yeah, so that's me. Fun fact about myself, I usually have a candy dish on my desk, so this is not possible. So when your appointment, imagine your favorite candy, and that's pretty much all I can give you. So, but I hope everybody has a great year in spite of it all, and this is such a great team to help everyone, and I'm excited to be part of this great team just to help everybody be successful and figure out what's going on. Okay, take care, everyone. Nice to meet you.
All right, thank you, Cindy. Okay, so continuing on with the Q&A, the next question is, can you talk about internship experience and opportunities?
Yeah,
Okay.
so I was an RA for a couple of years in the dorms, so I worked really closely with two of the resources we have on campus, the ICC, so the Internship and Career Center, as well as the CSI, which is Center for Student Involvement, that's the one. And those are two really great places. The ICC is a great place that's throughout campus, connects you to internship opportunities, both on campus, off campus, research-based, non-research-based. And then the CSI is great for finding clubs or student organizations that you'd be interested in exploring an interest even further. And then I also personally did an internship through UC Davis Study Abroad, where I spent a summer in Tokyo doing some administration work that was actually for credit through the major as well. So if you're looking and you're able to potentially do a international study for a summer or a quarter once COVID restrictions lift, that would be my personal recommendation, because I had such a great time and had 8 units of work that went towards my degree as well.
There's also a website called Handshake, and you can just log in with like your UC Davis email, and there's a lot of like job opportunities that's listed on that website as well.
And also, our major email, we send out a lot of different opportunities and career fairs within that email, so you can check it and see different things that you're interested in.
All right, our next question is, what classes do you recommend for data analytics? And I can actually answer this. So most of our core classes, they would technically fit under that category. And then we also have classes like Iyari 107, which I think Tiffany mentioned beforehand, and Iyari 157, Analysis for Operations and Production Management. So Tiffany, actually, do you mind talking a little bit more about Iyari 107?
Yeah, so Iyari 107 is kind of like a continuation of one of our core classes, Iyari 106, which is econometrics. So Iyari 107 goes more in depth about econometrics and how that applies to real world applications like business and financing decisions. And a lot of classes, some classes use different computer programs, but both of the classes that I took used R. And we run regressions to analyze big sets of data and come to like an idea of economic interpretations of these different data sets.
All right, thank you. Okay, so this question is more for the first year students. So any suggestions for the type of classes to take during your first year? Any specific classes you may recommend to take as a freshman?
If you are looking to like do this major and you're very solid on that, I definitely recommend taking a math course, just because it is like a prerequisite for our major, and it's a series. If you take the 16 series, it's A, B, and C. So if you take A, for example, in the fall, you'll be done with the math series by the spring, which that means then you'll be able to then just enroll in other classes that require math as the prereq, and you won't have to worry about math the requirement later during your college years. Personally, I liked Psychology 1 during my first year. I thought it was very interesting. And then I took that, and then I also took Political Science, American Politics. I also really liked that class. It made me want to become a political science double major. So definitely do try and explore with your lower div GEs. That way you can maybe find yourself leaning towards another major or another minor.
Yeah, and in my first year as well, I was still finding out what I wanted to do, so I didn't actually take any sort of man-econ related classes my first year, and I took a wide spectrum of classes. I took Intro to Islamic Literature, I took fairy tales, as well as I tried getting into an ECS class, and that one didn't work out too well for me. But it's really, especially in your first year, it's a great time to just try a wide variety of different classes. Anything that might remotely interest you, definitely don't hesitate to try.
And also on our Man Econ page, there is a sample schedule, like a 4-year plan. So you can also check that out and see what our major recommends that you should be taking.
All right. Did any of you get into research while at Davis?
Nope.
No. Okay. Yeah, so typically our students, a lot of our students don't do research, but there are some who do. If you attended the faculty panel earlier today, you heard one of our professors, Kristen Kiesel, talk about the Man Econ honors thesis. So with that, you do get to do research. But outside of that, if you are interested in research, most of our faculty are conducting research. So I would recommend asking your professors, your ARE professors, about what they're doing and see if that's of any interest to you.
And adding on to that, a lot of my friends have actually gotten research opportunities through economic development, ARE 115A. So I know that ARE, the 115 series, they recruit a lot of research assistants if that's what you're interested in.
Okay, so we have a question here. So this is about GE. So I would just like to say that Man Econ peer advisors and staff advisors, we don't actually advise on GEs. I recommend that you talk to the peer advisors and staff advisors in the college that we're located in, the College of Agricultural and Environmental Sciences. But I will say that most of our coursework does cover the science and engineering and social sciences sections of GEs, but that is the extent of our advising on that. So, yeah. All right, so this question, what made you choose to be a peer advisor?
I wanted to be a peer advisor because after a year of searching, it ultimately was the help of a couple of different peer advisors that led me to do Man Econ. So I really had enjoyed it since then, and I thought it was a great opportunity to provide a similar experience to other students.
I really enjoyed learning from students. So learning what they really liked in classes, maybe what they didn't like about certain classes, and also being able to share that with other students who come in as well. I think just being able to just absorb everybody's like personal experiences in classes is very helpful in like me choosing my classes and helping students choose their classes as well. And then I think it was also just being able to help, just it's like a community almost, so you're helping students, and these students like come very frequently, so you begin to just like build like a relationship with them, like as an advisor and sometimes like as a peer too, like as a friend. And you see them in classes, which is really cool.
The reason why I wanted to be a peer advisor is similar to Thomas. I originally came into Davis not being a man econ major, and going to different peer advisors and speaking especially to a man econ peer advisor that was more helpful, and I understood like, you know, the different requirements. I wanted to give a similar experience to people that also came to me.
For me, I really enjoy being around other main econ students. Not only do we give our advice and advising to students, we learn a lot from these students. We get to share our experiences, and that's really nice, just to share experiences with the students, and they get to share theirs with us. I feel like it's beneficial. It's not just beneficial to the student, but it's also beneficial to us as peers. And like it was mentioned, we're all a community and we gotta learn from each other.
And for me, when I was deciding to change my major, peer advisors and staff advisors helped me a lot. So it was like something that I wanted to do as well, and like give back to other students who might also be considering changing their major or considering a major in managerial economics. And I also didn't have a lot of friends in the major, so it's also a nice way to meet other students in the major as well.
Yeah, so I'd say that I think in general, we all have a similar theme of like just paying it forward. I also had a great experience with a past peer, so I wanted to kind of fill in her shoes after she graduated.
Okay, so I think this was mentioned before, but we do have a question about how you get into a study group for classes. So how do you all form study groups?
Especially with COVID right now and everything being online, more often than not, it'll be like a week, maybe a weekend, where you'll just see it something on the Canvas link discussion boards, like, hey, I made a Google Drive, or hey, I made a group chat if people want to talk. And then for almost every single class I've had since learning has been online, there's been a study group kind of discussion.
And then usually there's like a group page on Facebook where most students in the same like year, graduating in the same year, would like say, oh, who's taking these classes? Let's start a study group. So definitely check out Facebook and the Canvas discussion page.
We have a question here. So I know we went into clubs in the last meeting. So yeah, we had a club panel earlier this morning. But are any of you participating in certain clubs? If so, what would you recommend?
I'm not myself in any clubs, but I have several friends who really enjoy EBSA. So Economic Business Student Association, I think. And I have a few more that are also in Davis Accounting Society that really enjoy just doing that. So there are others. I don't actually have more answers myself, though.
I personally was in the Davis Accounting Society, and I thought it was really helpful with the recruitment process to get an internship. They also have a lot of guest speakers from firms, so you can definitely do connections that way. And they also hold like career fairs a lot. So I think if you're interested in accounting, it's definitely a helpful resource to secure yourself an internship.
I was also in EBSA and I was also in Ascend Leadership. I was actually president last year, and we are a business and leadership organization for Asian American students, but you don't have to be Asian to join, obviously. And I think we have a lot of different clubs. I'm assuming that you're asking specifically for our major related organizations. So you can actually go on to, we have a website for that. Does anyone know the Aggie Life website? Sorry, I'm blanking out.
I don't know
I
which
think
website you're talking about, but there is, like I mentioned before, the Center for Student Involvement, CSI.
yeah,
They have
yeah.
a great tool called the Involvement Calculator, I think. Basically, you just put in keywords that you might be interested in. So if you put in economics, there'll be more major or career focused student organizations. And there's also hobby related clubs as well. So a fairly popular one is like the Nintendo Club that just plays video games a lot. So there's I think there's like 800 clubs and student organizations on campus. So quite literally, there's probably something for everyone.
Are any of
Yeah,
you
so you
in
can,
oh, sorry, go on.
so you can check out the full list of everything we offer, and also we have an involvement fair coming up, I believe. So you can also talk to each club and see who you kind of vibe with.
Are any of you in a club that's not related to the major?
So I was also in Popping Club, which is a dance club. And I think Eva was also in Agape, right?
Yeah, and I've been in Agape since my fall quarter freshman year, and I've really enjoyed it. I'm also in SAC Hacks. It's similar to like Hack Davis, and basically they plan a hackathon event for students to attend.
All right, so our next question, what ManEcon courses did you find the most difficult?
In particular, Iyari 106 is notorious for being, in many people's eyes, the most difficult. I know Tiffany said that she really enjoyed it earlier. Teach their own. I was as sick as a dog during the quarter I took it, so I really didn't have a great time. But yeah, that's my answer.
For me, it was also Iyari 106 because I'm not the best at statistics, and the class uses a lot of statistics as well as like you have to use R as well, and it was kind of hard to like get used to the program. So yeah, for me personally, Iyari 106.
For me, not necessarily most difficult, but it was a little bit challenging in terms of like there was a lot of content in the class. It was Area 115A, so Economic Development. I did say I really enjoyed that class, but there was just a lot of content to go over. So just being able to manage all of that stuff and being able to review all of that too prior to midterms and final exams was just it required a lot of my time. So it was a class that I enjoyed a lot. It gave me a lot to learn from, but it did require a lot of my time as well. So yeah.
What about lower division requirements?
The hardest lower division requirement? If you choose to go, so there's options with the calculus series you would need to complete for the major. So 16A is what's typically recommended for our major. The 17 series is more of a biological sciences emphasis math and calculus course. And then the 21 series, 21A and B is needed for the major. And 21B had a lot of physics in it and I was not prepared. So yeah, I'd be careful about 21B if you're considering taking that path.
I also had a hard time with 21B. And I think in terms of like our major lower division, ARE 18 was a lot of material for me just because it was business laws and a lot of memorization. And for upper division, it would be ECN 101, which is intermediate macroeconomics. I realized that I'm not a macro person, and it's ironic because taking AP macro in high school was the whole reason why I chose this major. So.
Right. So, how has the workload been? Have you been able, wait, sorry. Have you had plenty of time for extracurriculars, even with minors?
So I think this question is really just going to depend person to person. Everyone's going to have different stuff going on outside of academia, work, any sort of interests. But I've really enjoyed being a man econ major, even with my minors, simply because there's been a lot of flexibility. Part of it being it's two-sided, right? Because it's a really popular major, so there are sections of classes and a large number of classes provided at different times, so I can kind of build the schedule the way I wanted. But at the same time, if you're a bit behind on the pastime, then a lot of them will be full. So two sides to it, but I really enjoyed it, and so even this quarter, I'm having hours as a peer advisor. I have my last minor class. I have 3 major classes, and I have another job I do 3 times a week. So the flexibility is a huge thing in the major, and again, a question like that, it's just going to be dependent on every person.
I do have time like for things outside of school. Like I do get to hang out with my friends on the weekends. And I am a double major, so the units are more than a minor, right? So it's assumed that you have to put in more time just because it is a double major. But I think you do find time for other things. It's just setting up your schedule and making sure you're managing your time appropriately. So just like I found it really useful to just have an agenda or like make a day-to-day schedule, because sometimes I can't commit to very long-term things. So just doing something by day helps me a lot, helps me time manage, and allows me to do stuff that I want to do on the weekends, whether that be with my friends or with a club or something like that. But yeah.
Yeah, and also I think my biggest tip would be planning ahead. So as another double major here, I knew that I wanted to double major my second quarter in Davis freshman year. And what helped me the most was kind of looking at my 4-year plan early on. So I knew how many units I needed per quarter in order to finish both majors and graduate on time. And I think when you see the whole picture, it does help to realize how much wiggle room you have and time for other things.
How about the rest of you? How have you been able to handle extracurriculars? And do you find that difficult, even if you have an extra minor or double major?
So I agree with planning ahead for sure. I think it's all about time management. So I'm majoring in managerial economics, but I'm also pursuing 2 minors. And on top of that, like I'm on a dance team, and sometimes we have practice late at night each week, and that's usually my time to like study. So I believe like it's all about like time management and being able to prioritize your time, setting goals that you have for the day, for the week. I think that's really important.
And also I wanted to add that majority of the clubs here actually do meet at night. So if you're worried about like it clashing with classes, I'd say it might only clash with like a discussion section, but other than that, you should be able to have your evening free for clubs.
Yeah, and for me, I wanted to finish and graduate in 3 years. So some of my quarters have been a little more heavier, but even with that and pursuing a minor, I definitely had time to like check out clubs and, you know, do volunteering events and things like that. So I think the workload would be manageable for you to like explore other extracurriculars as well if you manage your time well.
All right. How did you set yourselves up for future opportunities while at UC Davis outside of the classroom?
So I'd say that two things are very important. First thing is obviously your network. As business majors, networking is very important, and I think it never hurts to reach out to an alumni, especially at the companies that you want to work for. And also, internships are very important. A lot of my friends have already gotten their full-time offer just from being an intern. So the summer after your junior year, that's usually the internship where it counts.
Yeah, and also outside of internships, don't be afraid to just try any sort of position that interests you. So again, I was an RA for 2 years, so no longer, but regardless of the position, highlighting transferable skills and being able to put those on a resume and really talk about how the experience will help you, uh, it's huge, and you can find those kind of skills in any sort of position. So don't be afraid if you're even just doing a, like, I don't know, like a retail job or anything. If it's something that you're interested in and something that you're doing, there's going to be a way to prove that it was beneficial to you later on.
Yeah, and piggybacking on what Parvin said about networking, like not only are you reaching out to like different business opportunities, but also your own classmates and your professors, especially if you're looking into grad school, they will be the ones that will be giving you recommendations, and they're also the ones that are aware of any possible opportunities for you.
Okay. Once you choose an emphasis, such as business economics, are there any classes to take that focuses more on marketing?
Yeah, so we have ARE 136 managerial marketing, and we also have a list of classes that we divided by the field, like the business field. I think it's on our website if anyone can link that. But yeah, we do have classes that focus more on marketing, and
Yeah, I'm going to be responding to whoever asked that question just with the course description page from the website, where you can look up every class within the major and find what each one is about. I have the list of different like grouped classes somewhere else that I can try and find. But also personally, I really enjoyed Management 140, which is a minor class. Also, take technology management is a pretty common minor to have on top of being a man econ major, and that was really great. It was advertising, marketing, and the entire class was built around you and a group analyzing and deducing how to improve a local business's marketing strategy. So very hands-on and really just a great experience.
Yeah, so Maria has linked the course description page in the chat, so please go ahead and check that out. And that should give you a pretty good idea of where most of our classes fall. All right, so next question. What are your future plans after college?
not sure yet. But in that itself, don't be afraid. Like if you're towards the end of your collegiate career, don't be afraid to not know either. Again, just try anything that might interest you along the way towards the end, and you could be pleasantly surprised. Like that second job I have right now, I thought I was just gonna be working in the summer, and now it turns out they might be able to pay for my MBA, which would be massive. So, uh, yeah, anything that interests you at all, make the most of it and don't be afraid to try it.
I personally plan on going into consulting, management, or marketing. I'm not sure exactly what yet. And also pursuing an MBA in maybe like 5 years.
Yeah, I plan to work for a few years as well. And then maybe in 4 years or something like that, I plan to go to law school and study and maybe like look, and I'm very interested in corporate law.
I'm planning on going into public accounting after I graduate. Like Parvin mentioned, it's really important for you to get an internship the summer after your junior year. So recently, I've been interviewing with a lot of firms, and yeah.
For me, I'm also thinking of going to public accounting. So I have an internship this summer, so I'm hoping that will lead to a full-time position.
For me, I'm kind of like Thomas, where I'm not completely sure what I'd like to do, especially with like taking so many different classes. I don't know how I still don't know what I want to do, but definitely like still going to a lot of career fairs and figuring it out.
All right, so this next question, I guess would be more for Kelly. What do you think about a 3-year study plan?
I think it is definitely doable and manageable. I actually changed my major like halfway through my freshman year, and I was still able to make a plan to finish in 3 years and do a minor. So I think it's definitely important to meet up with a peer advisor and advisor to create that academic plan and then like plan ahead, especially if you're also thinking of pursuing a minor or something else.
All right. Have any of you failed an upper division class? If so, how did you deal with that and what would you do differently? So I guess the answer is no. But it is something that does happen. And so if you do find yourself in that situation, please, 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 please come into advising and we can talk through your options. Students fail classes for several different reasons, so each situation is unique. So it's important that you come in and talk to an advisor so that we can figure out a solution together that best suits your needs. All right. Okay, so this next question, we kind of briefly touched on this, but if you can go into more detail. So how do you recommend connecting with fellow classmates and alum? Classmates, I assume you would have to take advantage of times in a class, but how do you find alumni, yeah.
So for alumni, I would recommend creating a LinkedIn and also going to guest speaker events. So a lot of times clubs and the career center, they would host different panel events that would actually bring Davis alum back. And that way you can really build a connection with them and get to know them. As for classmates, I personally usually make my friends in discussion rather than lecture. So
Can I add something to that in terms of how to make friends in COVID times? I found out in my classes that sometimes the instructors will put you into small discussion sections or into groups, and that is a perfect way to kind of link in with other people within your class to start building those connections and networks just within your own class.
and also orientation. So I don't know how things are working out this year, but my best friend and roommate, I actually met her through orientation, and she's also a man econ major. So it's really just a lot of the clubs or man econ events where you can meet each other.
All right, so we don't have any psych and man econ double majors, but we do have a couple of double majors. So how has your experience been with double majoring in man econ and something else?
My double major is political science, so there's not a lot of overlap in classes. And again, you can only overlap 2 upper division classes for both majors. So it is just a lot of work. You don't really have the flexibility to take as many GEs as you'd like, just because I want to have like a manageable course load each quarter. So I take like about like 16 units a quarter, which is like 1 unit more than like the regular minimum progress, which is about 15, but it's not too much. I really enjoy the balance of political science classes and man econ classes because I get more so like reading in like the political science classes, and then more so math and quantitative work in the man econ classes. So it's a good mix of both classes. So I enjoy it.
And as for me, I actually wanted to double major in psych in the past. It's one of the majors that I ended up considering. If you want to go into like consumer behavior, I think it would be a pretty good combination. And also keep in mind that psych has a BA and a BS. So just really look into the difference. I ended up choosing communication because I wanted to go into more like PR and marketing. And I think communication has really helped me build a strong foundation, especially in writing. So that's why I chose it.
Yeah, and I would also add, we can only talk so much about other majors. We can give you all the information about man econ, but if you are interested in doing a double major, you should definitely talk to the peer advisors and staff advisors for psychology. And all of that contact information is on their website. So every major has a website, and every website has their contact information. So that's the best way to get a hold of them.
And also the best way to kind of know is really by taking their classes. So I personally took Com 3 and Com 10V before really deciding that that's what I want to do. And I also took Psych 1 to kind of test out both.
All right, so this question is more for the accounting peer advisors. So to those minoring in accounting, does that satisfy CPA requirements?
So the minor does not satisfy all the CPA requirements. The CPA requires like a certain number of units in like different sections. So you would have to take a couple extra classes, maybe at a community college, or consider like online classes as well to satisfy those requirements. I know a lot of people also go to grad school after they graduate. So you could either like get a master's of professional accountancy at UC Davis as well, you know, just stay another year, or you could get like a master's of accounting in like some other college and, you know, consider like an extra 9 months of grad school.
So depending on what classes you take in the man econ major, it will fulfill some of the CPA requirements. On top of that, those who want to pursue accounting usually do the accounting minor at Davis. Even with the accounting minor, there's still certain classes that you will have to take outside of Davis, which is why some students pursue the grad program. One class that you will need outside of Davis for sure is an ethics and accounting course. Usually students take that at a community college, usually like Foothill or any other community college that does offer it.
All right, and then we have one last question here. Is taking Econ 100A and Econ 100B a good option? So I wanted to discuss this because, well, first there's econ, managerial economics, and then there's economics. So managerial economics, that's what we are, and then economics is in the College of Letters and Science. So that means that we also have separate classes. So any class that you see that is labeled ECN, that stands for economics, and therefore it's for the economics major. Our classes are labeled ARE, and that stands for the department that we're in, agricultural and resource economics. And so Econ 100A and Econ 100B, those are the Part A and Part B of the intermediate microeconomics for the economics department. So our major, we want our students taking ARE 100A, not ECN 100A, all right? And the reason why we are labeled ARE, if Elizabeth, if you wanna give a little bit about the history of why our classes are ARE.
So ARE is agricultural and resource economics. And it's a good question. I don't know that I have that down, Jemmy, about what the complete history is. But I think it has to do with the land grants. In any regard, I can get that answer out to you later when I research it a little bit more. Thanks for putting me on the spot. So agriculture and resource economics is the name of our department, and we're housed in the College of Ag. So it is different than the regular economics department.
Okay, this next question, do jobs see a difference between econ versus econ? If I want to go for a job that's typically for econ majors, would I be discounted?
I think that's a really good question. There is a difference in that econ is a lot more focused on the application of economics, and companies will see that on your transcript you are taking business related classes compared to if you were an econ major. For a job that's typically for econ majors, I think it depends on what that is, but I'd say that it should be okay unless they require like specific econ classes that aren't covered in our major. So it kind of depends.
All right, so those are all of the questions that we had in the Q&A. We will be here for another 45 minutes. Please let us know if you have any other questions. Oh, we do have a question here. So if you studied abroad, what countries? I'm assuming what country did you go to? And then just generally, study abroad, it goes to many countries. And so typically if you have a country in mind, you can always go to the Global Learning Hub website, and they do group their study abroad opportunities by country. But yeah, do any of the peers want to elaborate on their experience abroad?
Yeah. So I went through the study abroad office, now the Global Learning Hub, and so there's tons of countries that you can go to, but there are 4 internship specific programs because there are also academic related ones, but there are internship specific ones through that are connected to the ManEcon major. And I believe as of now, they're available in 4 countries. So Czechoslovakia, Japan, which is the one I went on, it's specifically in Tokyo, New Zealand, and somewhere else that I can't think of at the moment. Maybe Greece. Don't know. And it was honestly just great. So if you do it through that student housing opportunity, student study abroad opportunity, and you do the internship program specifically, they actually connect you with an internship themselves. So obviously you have to fill out what your interests are, what your skills and experience are, submit a resume and everything, but they actually do the groundwork of matching you with a company and opportunity that matches your interests. And then from there, they also plan great field trips. So in Tokyo, we had one weekend that was New Japan, one weekend that was Old Japan. So Old Japan, we went to Kamakura, saw the Bronze Buddha, went to different shrines, went to the beach. Great experience there. And then like New Japan, we went to round 1 that was a penthouse suite on this massive building, went to a Gundam cafe, saw the like 40-foot tall Gundam robot, went to a maid cafe, which was also lots of fun. It really was just a fantastic trip. And even though I had tons of fun and I went in the middle of festival season and so had all those experiences, I also made work connections and just did work as a social media intern for a company and just had a great time that way. So definitely 100% recommend it if you can do it.
And then a follow-up question, during what year of college did you go?
I went at the end of my sophomore year, so at the end of my second, but I know plenty of people that go at all times. Typically people will have a first year at college actually on location and they'll stay, but anytime after that people can go. I know tons of people that were planning on going at their senior year for a semester length period in the first half of their senior year. Totally fine as well. Whatever time works for you is the best time to go.
You can also take classes abroad that count towards the major. Some classes that we have abroad is Iyari 112, which is global management. You can take this in Edinburgh, United Kingdom. And then there's also Stats 103, which is statistics for business and economics, and that you can take in Poland. So yeah, I've never been abroad, but there was a past advisor, 2 previous advisors who did Iyari 112 abroad, and they really enjoyed it. They had a lot of fun doing it. And you have to go through, of course, the staff advisors to make arrangements with your plan and make sure that you can do study abroad or that you're able to fit it into your schedule. And then you also have to go through the study abroad center.
The Global Learning Hub.
Yeah, the Global Learning Hub. Thanks, Jeremy, for help with that as well. But yeah, you can take classes towards this major abroad.
Yes, just please meet with a staff advisor. Sorry, go on.
For me, I was planning on going last summer, so the summer of my sophomore year, to do a program abroad, but it got canceled. And there's also, besides the Global Learning Hub, a program called UCEAP, which is basically where you get to choose an institution in another country. And then you would just look at their class schedule and like the course descriptions. And then you would like choose a couple classes that you're planning to take. And you can bring these classes to a staff advisor and have them approve like which one of these classes could be considered as like a restricted elective for the major.
So like Kelly, my program was canceled last summer as well. Not only can you take classes abroad, you could also intern abroad. So I was originally planning on interning in Japan. So I really encourage students to study abroad. I'm not going to be able to have that chance, but if I could go back, I would for sure study abroad.
And I don't think I described it too well, but when you do the internship program through the Global Learning Hub, you actually have internship credit that can apply towards your graduation. So I wasn't taking a class like Iyari 112 or Stats 103, but I had the internship and have 8 transferable upper division credits that will help me graduate.
And when he says graduation, he means the 180 units that you need in order to graduate.
Yes, it won't satisfy anything within the major, but it is just 8 added to the total 180 I need.
So we have a question here that says, what are the benefits? We did kind of touch on that, but if any of you want to elaborate some more.
Just for me, it really was balancing, enjoying my summer, traveling and seeing more of the world, and also spending some time developing a career. So that in and of itself is you get to have these fantastic experiences that you quite literally can't have unless you go to the place and do them, as well as just the mutual benefit of being able to develop yourself professionally. So it's fantastic.
Also, in terms of what you do when you go abroad, it really just depends on the internship and the class you're taking and where you go.
Yeah, it all depends. I have several friends who took UCEAP programs as well that were the actual courses themselves. So they had some of their structures were classes Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 hours a day, and then after that it was all free time. Some have more structured field trips type of thing like mine. So it all depends on the program and the schedule you have within it.
All right, if you study abroad, does that most likely mean that you won't graduate in 4 years?
Not necessarily, but meet with a staff advisor to make sure that studying abroad is right for you. There's also a question in the chat about the technology management minor. So that's my minor as well. And again, it's pretty common within the ManEcon major. Essentially, you can find this through the Graduate School of Management website, because that is the graduate school on campus that essentially operates the technology management minor for undergraduates to take. And so essential requirements, there are 6 classes you can take. Management, they're all operative, MGT, blanks like 140, 50, 60, 70, and 80, I think. And they are a wide variety of different fields. You need to take 5 of them to complete the minor, and you have 6 to choose from. So one's accounting, one is that marketing class I introduced earlier, one is finance, so stocks type of thing. Trying to think more. 120 was a consulting type of class, and I'm blanking on the other one. But yeah, it's I believe Maria just linked it. No, Iyari just linked it in the chat, and you can just find all the classes linked right there.
Yeah, and we can also help you with those classes as well. We can help you with the tech management minor and the accounting minor. We can help you with those if you can't get to the Graduate School of Management or the advisor for those minors there.
All right, any other questions? All right, is taking a Math 16 series with Stats 13 ideal? Would it be difficult to have 2 math classes in 1 quarter? And I will just say right now that we don't recommend doing calculus and stats together. It's usually ends up being a difficult pair for students, and so our job as advisors is to set you up for success, and one of our tips is to not do that combination.
Adding to what Jamie said, I can also say that for that particular class, we actually advise statistics to be in your second year after you've completed the math so that it's closer to statistics 103 and then closer to ARE 106. So if you follow that plan, you'd be right on track.
As a freshman, can I take Econ 1? I'm assuming you mean A or B? So we recommend starting with Econ 1B, although it really doesn't matter, but we do recommend starting with Econ 1B in spring of your first year, and then taking Econ 1A either over the summer or during your fall quarter of your second year. And this is for the freshmen coming in, obviously. And then also, we will try to find a place for this afternoon session as well as the morning session on our website. So these are being recorded so that other students can access it afterward. So any other questions from our attendees? All right, if I just registered for econ today, should the class show up in Canvas tonight? I actually don't know how long it takes to show up in Canvas. Do any of the students know?
It should show up almost like maybe give it like a few hours, but it should show up almost the same day. Maybe check that it is populated in your Canvas. Sometimes your all of your courses are hidden, so make sure it is um, on your dashboard. Yeah, I don't know how to explain it because it's on Canvas, but yeah.
Adding on to that, a lot of professors don't publish the course until first day of school, so tomorrow. So if it's not showing up yet, don't worry, it's gonna show up.
All right. What were some challenging classes in this major? How did you handle them? We did go over this a little bit earlier. So when the recording is posted, I recommend going back through and looking through and listening to their answers. But yeah, there were a variety of classes like ARE 106 and ARE 115A. We do have a question here. Oh yeah, going back to the last, what I just said, Maria, yeah, it'll be posted on our website, not via email. Okay. Can I still transfer to Man Econ without taking Stats 13 for my first year? You cannot. The classes to change your major, to declare Man Econ is whichever calculus series you decide to do, Econ 1A, Econ 1B, and Stats 13. So if you can't get to Stats 13 until your sophomore year, which if you're following our sample plan, that will most likely be the case, that means that you're changing your major in your sophomore year, which is totally fine. All right, so we have another question here. How was your overall experience as a Man Econ major?
My overall experience has been great. Thanks for asking. No, it's really been fun. I started doing this because it was largely exploratory, and I had the opportunity to just take it slow, try a whole bunch of different fields before I even chose my emphasis in the major itself. And I really haven't looked back. It's been nice to have that flexibility in the classes I take, find out what works for me, what doesn't, and it's really been fantastic.
I really enjoy all of the class offerings so far. I've had some luck with like the classes I've chosen. I've really enjoyed all of them. I think it's a very versatile major, and then you also, like, at least the business economics emphasis, you have a lot of classes to choose from that counts towards that emphasis, that make progress towards the major. So yeah, my experience has been pretty good. There are like your occasional challenges, like academic challenges that you'll have to face, but with like help from peer advisors, staff advisors, and school resources, you should be able to make it through successfully.
I've also had a very good experience with Man Econ. I came to Davis originally thinking that I was going to do computational statistics, which is a lot of data analysis mixed with computer science. And I changed my major thinking I'd do something different, but I fall back into econometrics and a lot of the computational side of things. But I like that Man Econ has the additional application to a lot of more real world examples and business and marketing decisions.
Yeah, for me, I definitely enjoyed the major, and I don't regret my decision to switch from my previous major to my current major. And I just like how the classes cover like a wide range of information, so you can like choose which classes interest you and like decide what your interests are and like what you might consider as a potential career path. So I definitely like what how people mentioned before how exploratory the major is.
On top of like learning or taking like different classes each quarter, you also learn a lot about different industries from your peers. Since man econ is such, there's so much variety. Like there's people doing different, pursuing different fields, and you can learn a lot about different fields just by talking to your peers in man econ. I found that very beneficial because coming into college, I had the thought that I was going to choose accounting, but I also wanted to explore other fields. And because of man econ, I was able to do that. I got to like talk to my peers and see what they were trying to pursue and learn more about other fields as well.
Yeah, thank you all. So we do have another question here. I'm going to paraphrase it a bit so it can be a little more general. But in your experience, if you are picking up a class, like say, like on the first day of school starting, like, are you going to miss a lot of information? Like in your experience, what has been your experience with the first day? So do professors cover a lot on the first day? Would you be okay if you switched in a few lectures in?
Yeah, I would say the university just planned for switching into classes with the drop date being after week 4 outlines pretty well the date in which you would be fine to transfer in, right? Like that's why it's designed. So in most cases, obviously, the earlier you transfer in, the better. But professors do a really great job, and especially with online learning, of understanding your situation and having the material there for you to catch up on. A lot of the times they'll understand, and it's on a professor to professor basis on whether or not they'll drop assignments that you need to do. More often than not, you'll be required to all do the same, but they're pretty good. So especially if you're transferring into a class in the next few days, don't worry too much about it.
Some tips personally, I think if we were in person, I would have gone to the lectures even if I wasn't registered in the class yet. I would have just gone to see what it was like, and maybe if they were in my interest, that's maybe what would have persuaded me into registering for the class. Now that we're online, in terms of catching up, I believe most of the classes have posted recordings, so you really don't have an excuse to not be able to catch up. I think it's almost just being able to manage your time, right? Because they are being posted online, at least like from the classes that I have, a lot of them are being posted online. So I think that's an advantage, I guess, you can have now that classes are online, on how you can catch up with your work.
All right, so we have about 15-ish minutes left. So if you have any last minute question, now is literally the time to ask them. Is UWP business writing required for man econ? Yes, it is a major requirement.
It's a really good class if you want to learn, well, if you have, well, you have to learn all about like professional writing and resume writing. So it's not so much of a burden. It's actually very helpful. It gives you more, it allows you to go more into depth into just like professional writing. So memo writing, email writing, just like looking at contracts, maybe like briefly writing up like the cover page of a contract. So it's really helpful.
How is everyone doing with online classes?
For me, it's given me a lot of flexibility, especially because the classes that I'm taking with education and Iyari usually falls on Tuesday, Thursdays. So I have a lot of back-to-back classes. Like this quarter, I have classes from like 9 to 10:30, then like 12 to 6, you know? So getting between classes and rushing, like I don't have to rush to like go to the next class or like bike. So that's nice.
I think it puts your time management skills to the test, especially being able to create a planner or just being able to manage all of your due dates and things like that. Because I find that with online classes, you have more weekly quizzes and weekly problem sets than you would have in person during in-person instruction.
Yeah, I would definitely say because of online learning, my engagement has just fallen off the cliff. So it's, if anything, it's a great exercise in being able to keep yourself disciplined. So even if it's asynchronous, if you've already developed your schedule around the class time that you thought you would have, really try and keep yourself to it, because if you don't, it's really easy to just miss one of the lectures a week, and then all of a sudden it's before the midterm and now you have 3 more lectures you need to go over about material you don't know. So it's been a trial period, sort of like keeping myself honest.
Also with asynchronous lectures, there's not a teacher in the classroom telling you, oh, this assignment will be due on this day. So definitely keep track of when assignments are due, because it's possible to like miss a couple just because it completely blew over your mind.
I personally really miss being on campus. I think, um, going to career fair, involvement fairs, and a lot of our welcoming events online is different. And I kind of wish that my senior year wouldn't be online just because I miss like seeing my friends in between classes or going to the coho for a little break. But other than that, it's true that you do have a lot more time for yourself, and also I enjoy being at home, spending more time with family as well. So it's kind of I'm having mixed feelings about online classes.
All right, we have a question here. What do you think about going into the hospitality field after graduating?
Does the hospitality field mean like hotels?
I think so, yeah.
You can use the skills and material you learn in Man Econ to help with hotel management and start a franchise of hotels and inns. I actually have family friends that do that, so it's not unheard of.
Yeah, I mean, if it suits you, that's great. Yeah. All right, is it okay if okay, so that went away. But yes, it is okay if you take ENL3 during your first year.
Yeah, I think maybe that one came because of UWP 104A. So I think it's good to clarify that UWP 104A should be taken either your junior or senior year because it is an open class for anybody really, not just restricted to this major. You most likely will get into it later, so maybe in your senior year. So don't get too worried if you don't get into the class in your junior year.
Yeah, and just to elaborate a little bit on that, UWP 104A is an upper division class, whereas ENL 3 is a lower division class, and it's one of the classes that you can use as a prerequisite to UWP 104A. So that's where that distinction is. And then also there are other prerequisites to UWP 104A that you can take instead of ENL 3, so that's not the only option that you have.
Yeah. And similar with 104A, because it's such a universal class and so many different majors have it as a prerequisite to requirements, it could be pretty difficult to get into it in your first year, but it's, if you're able to, then I'd personally recommend it, yeah.
And that would be first year for transfer students because they are junior standing and therefore can get into it. Freshmen cannot get into it yet.
No. Is it restricted above freshman standing?
Yeah, so 90 units and above, you have to complete 90 units. So transfer students are usually okay because they're coming in with junior standing, but then first year freshmen, they have to wait.
For ENL 3?
Oh no, for UWP 104A.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was like, I didn't think so, but yeah, I got it.
Does my AP English score of 4 qualify for lower division ENL 3? Does that mean I don't have to take lower division English? So for anyone who scored a 4 or a 5 on AP English, it does give you credit for ENL 3 and UWP 1, so you do not have to take those classes. In fact, you cannot take those classes for credit. So we have a question here about AP 3 on AP Calculus AB. A 3 on AP Calculus AB will give you units towards the 180 units that you need to complete for graduation. Yeah, if one of my fellow panelists can link the AP chart in the chat, I recommend looking through that to see what certain scores on certain AP exams get you. And then, yes, this is currently being recorded and it will be posted to our website later on. All right, so we've about hit the 5-minute mark. So do any of our peers or staff advisors have any last remarks to share with our attendees?
Nothing on my part. I think just best of luck during this new year. It's gonna be different. But I think with with the proper help, by reaching out to UC Davis resources, everybody will be successful. Also follow our social media pages. We are on there. You can send us a direct message for very quick questions and we will for sure help you and like answer your questions as soon as we can. But yeah, and always we encourage you guys to visit peer advisors and staff advisors.
Iyari, can you put the social media in the chat?
Yeah.
For me, I'd say that it is your first quarter at Davis. So no matter where you're from, the quarter system is something that will take time to be adjusted to. So don't worry. And I'd say what helped me my first year here was really building a solid support group. So try your best to meet new people, and who knows, maybe you'll find your next best friend.
Anyone else from peer or staff?
I'd just like to welcome all of you again. I know a lot of people dropped out of the webinar, but welcome to you all, and we're here to help you. So I can't reiterate that enough. The peers have all said it, but we are here to help you schedule an appointment with us. We're happy to talk to you. Send us an email. We will get an answer off to you. And don't hesitate to come and talk to us about anything and be proactive. That was something else that came up also in the faculty panel, and I heard it from our peer advisors today as well. Be proactive, and if you're having any difficulties, be sure to let us know right away. It's the if we know sooner rather than later that you're having some trouble or difficulties, and we're in a better position to help you, okay? And I hope you all have a wonderful year, and go Ags.
Yes, thank you to our panel, our peers. Thank you for sticking it out for 2 hours. I hope all of our attendees were able to get something out of it. And yeah, come and see us. All right. Bye, everyone.